My sister's getting married. Of course, I want to help her financially, so I agreed to donate a large portion to help her wedding. But when I meet her fiancé for the first time, and I remember where exactly I met him from, I can't help but think I will never give one single dime to my sister for marrying that creep. My name's Jane. This is my story of how my older sister Mary demanded that I contribute money towards her wedding, despite her fiancé being my former bully. Mary and I had a perfect sister relationship growing up. She's my play and gossip mate. We did almost everything together as a family. Our parents tried their best to make sure the relationship between us is as good as perfect. We respect each other, ensuring that we don't look for anyone's trouble. I'm a shy, fair girl, and merely looking into my eyes, you would see how fragile and shy I am. Though intelligent and smart, those qualities are needed in the classroom only. As in real life, it's a survival of the fittest mindset. Being the last born of my mother, I was a little bit over-pampered. I can easily get beaten up by kids in our neighborhood. Sometimes I would ask myself if I have any strength inside of me. At this stage, I was not bothered because I still have my dad and mom, who usually come to my defense anytime other kids in the neighborhood came looking for trouble. I'm the pure definition of a daddy's girl. The funniest part is that I thought that I would remain dad's girls forever. Time flies and I'm left to face the reality of life. My sister Mary is not as fragile as me. She's bold, smart, and strong. She's more outspoken than I am, and she can withstand any form of bullies from any kid. She's a fighter, and takes no nonsense from any kid. She mostly gets into trouble trying to protect me from kids who love to look for my trouble. Sometimes I will call her my bodyguard, because she saved me from a lot of beatings from other kids. Apart from Mary, being brave and stronger, she's beautiful. Her curved hips and blonde hair make her attractive to many. She grows up to become a career lady who works with one of the international insurance companies. Of course, that has been her longtime dream. I'm not into educational stuff, and I wasn't interested in a white-collar career. I prefer craft work like designing shoes, jewelry, and other ornamental clothing. After our college, Mary proceeded to university, while I proceeded to a craft school where I learned how to make so many ornamental wares. I pretty much like my career, not just about the money I'm making, but the fact that I work in my own space without meeting many people. Perhaps I'm just very reserved. After my sister graduated, she moved to a different state, in search of a greener pasture, while I stayed back at home since my working place is about 5 miles away from me. My daddy is into business, and oftentimes he goes on business trips that sometimes will last between a few days to a few weeks. My mom, who was working as a nurse before renting due to some personal reasons now, focused more on her poultry farm. When my father's not around, she gets herself busy with that. My jewelry business is absolutely thriving, so I saved enough money to move to a large and better shop. I'm really popular, and each day brings new customers who patronize me. My mom was happy about my success. She'll be like, "Jane, one day you will own a very big company in this state." I'll just smile and say, "Mom, don't worry, your baby girl's gonna make you proud." I'm so motivated to take my jewelry making business to greater heights shortly. What if I tell you that I used my business and the fortune I'm getting from it to hide my fears? I know you'll be wondering how. You'll get to know soon. My mom and dad don't believe that a woman can be successful without marrying or having her own family. My parents believed so much in family and children. My mom once told me that the success of a lady is not measured on monetary value, but on the ability to such a lady to raise and keep her own family. I guess that's their mentality, but of course, this is the 21st century. I can do whatever I want. "Hello, big sis. How are you doing?" "I'm fine," says Mary. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm okay for now. How's work? Work's fine, and how's business? Oh, business is going fine. When we are expecting you to come back home? Mary answers, soon I will be home after my leave permit's been approved. Okay, we will talk later. Mom asked, who was that? It's Sister's Mary. Is she coming home? I replied, yes, Mom, soon. And Mom said, okay, I'll pray that she'll come home with a fiancé. Aw, Mom, don't be desperate. And then my mother says, yes, Jane, I am not being desperate. I'm just saying the fact. Your sister is of age and needs to get a man of her own. Mom, we aren't going to have this conversation now. I got stuff to do. Well, this is my mom. I'm used to her. Every slightest opportunity she gets, she can use it to advise me on how I should be preparing to get married. During my high school days, something happened that up till this very moment, I still feel like I'm vulnerable to such incidents. When I was in high school, I was a victim of bullying. It was terrible. It was more like a thorn in my flesh. This guy made sure that my days at high school were absolute nightmares. He would collaborate with his friends and either hit me or tear my books, and even worse still, beat me up. My sister doesn't even attend the same high school as me, and assuming she does, the bullies would not have been much. At some point, I was considering telling my sister or my parents. But each time I tried to open up, I would feel ashamed that I may be looked down upon as a weak person, who only depends on her parents or her sister to fight her battles. I kept every bullying and intimidation that I'm going through to myself. Sometimes, when I come back from school, there will be bruises on my body. My mom will ask me, Jane, who did this? And I'll just reply, Mom, it was during play that my friend mistakenly hit me during a game. My mom knows, of course, that I'm not telling the truth, but she would let anything slide. Her busy work schedule at the hospital won't permit her to go looking for the extra trouble. I hated this guy and his friend. I occasionally prayed that he would get sick so he would not be in school to bully me. Any day that he wasn't in school is like a fresh air for me, because that day I'll have a rest of mind. I once imagined that if I had access to a gun, well, I would do unholy things to that guy. This wasn't funny to me as a teenager because my performance at school was affected, and my grades began to drop, and my confidence in the association was also affected. My mom later noticed this and called me to find out what the problem was. Why am I not performing well in school? She asked. I replied, oh, nothing, I'm okay. Well, my mom insisted that she knew when I was okay or not, and later when my father came back, she discussed her observations with him. My dad decides to enroll me in another school. This is how I was able to escape from this bully of a boy. Even after so many years, his face and wicked smile keep reappearing in my memory, and I pray day in and day out to have the opportunity to avenge what he's done to me. With my business, I'm convinced that I've protected myself against any form of vulnerability from anybody. Update number 1. Not too long, Mary has given 2 months leave from her working place. She quickly called me to inform me that she'll be back home the coming week. Wednesday, to be precise. This made me very happy because Mary and I last saw each other physically 2 years ago. Wednesday becomes a day I look forward to. When I got home, I told my parents that Mary will be coming back home on Wednesday of next week. I knew the joy on their face, just like mine. We have all missed Mary, and I was waiting for her. So she can tell me all about her new location, working place, and most importantly, tell me if she has a man in her life. There are not going to be any dull moments with my sister. This is her true nature, and sometimes I will wish I'm like her. Wednesday morning, I rushed out, collect my car keys, and get on my way. Where do you think that you're going this early in the morning? My dad asked. Well, I'm going to pick up my sister from the airport, Pops. Jane, it's still 7:58 a.m. Your sister is yet to arrive. Go in, eat your breakfast first. Mary's flight should be landing at about 10 this morning. Perhaps I was engulfed in the joy of seeing my sister that I don't remember that her flight was arriving at 10. Well, by 9:45, I was already at the airport awaiting my sister. Soon my phone rang. It was her. I located her and we drove back home. It was such a beautiful moment just to see my sister after 2 years. What a sight to my eyes. On our way home, she talked about everything that's been changed but me. It was just the same, maybe because I'm already used to seeing those things almost daily. Mary talked about how she's coping with the stress associated with her work, and how she was able to achieve a promotion within a short time. I was happy for her, and also for having her around for a while. We reach home. Dad and Mom were already at the corridor, just to give their daughter a warm welcome. They hugged each other and exchanged pleasantries. Mom told her that she's all grown now and looks exactly like her during her youthful age. It was just a happy family reunion. The following day, we got talking and gisting about, remembering the good old days, and she teased me by calling me Daddy's girl. No, Mary, I'm no longer Daddy's girl. I'm all grown now. Jane, a daddy's girl, will always be a daddy's girl. We talked about my business, and I told her that I'm doing well in my jewelry making business, and now that I have a couple of workers working beneath me. I told her what I've been able to achieve with profits from the business. And her look, I noticed she was surprised at how I was able to achieve that much with such a short time. At that point, Mary told me about her relationship with a guy called John Watkins. She also told me that they're already making plans for their wedding, and that was the main reason she came home, so that she can inform father and mother. I was very happy for her. At least our mother will now wear a smile on her face. In my words, I told her, quote, "Big sis, I'm happy for you, and I'm glad you found a man that you're settling down with." I asked her when she'll inform our parents, and she said tonight during dinner. To me, it would be the perfect time to break the good news. And during dinner later that day, Mary told her parents about her relationship and the plan of getting married very soon. As expected, Mom and Dad were so happy. They asked Mary a couple questions about her mystery man, and she answered to the best of her knowledge. Our father told Mary to invite her husband over to the house, so that at least they could get to meet him and know him before the wedding. In the morning, I prepared for work, and Mary insisted that she wanted to follow me to the office, so she would not be bored there. I don't have a problem with it, so on our way to my working place, Mary told me about the guy. How caring, how loving he is, and at some point I began to feel a little bit jealous. When we alighted from the car, I asked her to show me a picture of this young man that's making her go gaga. My sister brought out her tablet, showed me a picture of this cute, smiling young man. But wait a second. Staring at the picture for the second time, the face of my teenagehood bully showed up in my memory. I paused for a moment, and my sister noticed the change in my behavior, and she asked, "Do you know him from somewhere?" Not really. No problem." Well, Mary was still confused. We went into my workplace, and throughout the day I wondered if I'd finally found my former bully. The boy who made life at St. Thomas High School miserable for me. Or am I just overthinking things? Maybe it wasn't him after all. At that moment, I let my curiosity down my gut. With my sister present, life became more enjoyable and interesting, and as we would do chores together, go to my workshop together, and just hang out. As I said earlier, I'm a shy type that doesn't have many friends, and my sister seems to be my best of friend. Update number 2, a few weeks later. Hey guys, I know I posted like a few weeks back or so here's what's been going on. Let's get to it. One day, my sister told us during dinner that her fiancé will be visiting us in the next 2 days to finalize the wedding preparations. Our parents were very happy that at least they'll be seeing the guy who has stolen my sister's heart. My sister has already started preparing for her wedding. It was a beautiful moment. She would spend minutes fantasizing about what the day will look like, and I would simply tease her, "Mary, take things easy. You're not the only one that's been wedded in the whole wide world." Mary will chase me out the bedroom calling me a jealous sister. Anyways, it was a good moment. I'll escort her down to the boutique, where she got herself a few good dresses that she'll use for her big old day. She also asked me to make the perfect jewelry for her, and I assured her that she will get the best of them at no cost. Financially, I'm doing better than my sister. At least I've saved enough money and also have a car of my own, and my sister on her own is just trying to keep up with her salary, and to be honest, I'm so proud of her. Well, she has been assisting me when we were much younger, and if I have the opportunity, I won't hesitate to help her. One day, my sister called me. "Jane, I want to talk to you about something." "I'm listening." Well, my sister told me that I should please contribute money for her forthcoming wedding, that the preparations have eaten deep into her and her fiancé's finances. Of course, I was already thinking the same. As I'm not a baby, I know what it means to prepare for our wedding ceremony. I told my sister I got her back, and that I would surely contribute money towards her for the upcoming wedding. She hugged me, and I felt joy all over. Finally, it was the day that Mary's fiancé said that he'll be visiting us. Preparation was in full gear. Mom and Mary were already busy in the kitchen, and the whole house is sparkling, as if we were expecting the president. Dad seemed not to be bothered as he sat on his old sofa chair listening to the morning news on television. I can see an occasional smile crack upon his face. That day was Saturday, and I didn't have much work to do at the office. I decided to stay back home to help welcome our guest. I was curious and, to be honest, a little bit anxious. The reason is because of this close resemblance between the boy who bullied me at school years back and my sister's fiancé. But little did I know, that day I am going to meet again with the boy who became my nightmare during high school. The guy who constantly beat me up for no reason, and I don't even know the reason why he and his friends have to hate me that much. I haven't gotten into any form of trouble, and naturally I try as much possible to avoid getting in trouble with anyone. Maybe that should be because of my weak nature. Well, I think that bullies all started after the boy asked me to give him my newly bought mathematics textbook, but I refused. He's very arrogant. We struggled with the book for a minute until luckily one of our teachers came by, stopped him, and collected the textbook and handed it to me. From then on, each time we're on break, this boy and his friends just made me bully prey. One day during my high school days, I woke up at 7:20 in the morning. I quickly jumped out of bed and headed to the bathroom. You needed to see how reluctant I was to go to school that day. It took me a while to get into the shower, so I hopped out of the shower with a white towel wrapped around my body. It was summer and the weather was not all that favorable. I picked up a light dress and put it on, climbed down the stairs, and Dad went on a business trip per usual, and Mom left early to work. I just grabbed 2 apples. I put one in my school bag and kept my mouth busy with the other. It took me about 20 minutes to get to school that day, and as much as I love learning, I had mixed feelings about school. I know that I would get bullied again. I don't want to talk to anyone because I fear they may look at me as a weakling. The day arrived at school early, so I wouldn't see that bully boy until later in the day. I quickly put my bag in my locker door, and suddenly I hear a sound from my locker. Alas, it was this arrogant boy that's become a thorn in my flesh. I said, "Hey, how may I help you?" He replied, "Oh, here we go again. Hey, it looks like we got mathematics together.
You know that I and everyone else are wondering, how did you get your freaking butt into that small chair? It's so big.
I replied, it's also a mystery to us both. He chuckled. I hated him so much that I wish I had something to hurt him with at this moment. I would have definitely hurt him. He did as if he was walking away, and I relaxed. And all of a sudden, he kneed me in the stomach so hard that I ended up on the floor. Then he said,
No one loves you. No one wants to be your friend. Do all of us a favor and just go somewhere.
And then he spit on me, and he left. The rest of the day went by with a blur, and this was the type of bullying I faced each day of my stay at St. Thomas High. At about noon, I had a knock on the door. I reluctantly went to see who it was, and behold, it was John Watkins. You guessed it, my former bully. At first, I was speechless, but he looked as if he did not recognize me. I welcomed him and exchanged pleasantries. I'm Jane, Mary's younger sister, and he replied,
Hi, I'm John Watkins, your sister's fiancé.
It was a mix of feelings for me. In my mind, I was thinking this is a good time to get my revenge. For all the pain and bullies I had to endure because of you, John Watkins. After some moments of silence between me and John, my sister joined us in the sitting. They hugged each other so passionately as if it was the last time they'd ever see each other. I sat quietly, just meditating on my next move. My sister and her fiancé talked about how his flight was and how he was able to locate our family house so easily. He then told my sister that he had lived around the neighborhood when he was a little boy. As the discussion was going on, my parents joined us too in the sitting room. John stood up to greet my dad and also waved at my mother. After both of them exchanged hugs and handshakes, their discussion went deeper as expected. John told my parents that he attended St. Thomas High School before proceeding to Harvard, where he studied accountancy. He told us that he now works at a newly established bank hometown town. At that moment, my dad told him that I attended St. Thomas High School too. Well, he was surprised. That was when he took a second glance at me and quickly recalled who I was.
Oh my gosh, Jane, is it you?
I said, yeah, it's me. I stood up and went upstairs, and I guess everyone was surprised and wondered what was going on. They went on with their discussion, and after some time, my sister came up the stairs to call me for lunch, but I told her that I wasn't coming. She asked me what's wrong. I said nothing. I'm not hungry. Properly, she knows that something's wrong, but decided to keep it to herself until her fiancé's gone. My parents and Mary's fiancé spend a good time together, getting to know each other well and also, talking about the wedding that's coming up in 3 weeks. My hate for John Watkins became even worse when I decided I'll not contribute any money to my sister's wedding. That was my final decision, because I know they needed that money to get some things sorted out. As I lay on my bed, the memories of the pain I suffered from this guy kept reappearing in my mind. At least by not contributing any money, I will get my revenge. That evening at about 5:30 p.m., John Watkins left our house. Not too long ago, my parents came to my room with their already prepared 1 million questions about why I acted that way. And I quote, "Jane, what's wrong with you? I hope you're all right." "Yeah, I'm fine. I just needed my space at the moment."
Have you met that young man somewhere, honey?
Not really, Dad. Please, you guys, just don't bother yourselves. I'm okay. My dad doesn't believe that I'm good as well, and on their way out of my room, he said,
Hey, whatever the reason is, take it easy on yourself, young lady.
Well, I know most of you will be wondering why I still carry a grudge against someone after several years. It's a situation that affected me psychologically and taunted me for a long time. Such memories are not easy to erase, and everyone will have their own opinion on how to deal with such circumstances, but for me, it's already what it is. I intend to handle it in my own way. Soon, Mary came to my room to ascertain what the problem was. She asked, Jane, what is the problem? Do you have any problem with my fiancé, or have you known each other before? Those are some of the numerous questions that she asked me, and I started. Yes, I do have a problem with your fiancé. I've known him since way back in high school days at St. Thomas. With the surprised look, Mary asked, "Oh, are you serious?" "Yeah. And by the way, he's my former bully. He's the worst human that I've ever known, and he hated me for no reason. He kicked me several times. He would spit on me, and he and his friends used to make fun of me relentlessly. He made my days at St. Thomas High School absolutely a nightmare, and he was the reason why my grades went down drastically because I lost concentration because of his constant bullying." Wow. At this point, my sister has become confused, because this is not a gentle and loving guy that she's known for the past few months. She doesn't know if to apologize on his behalf or not, and after some time she was able to gather word of mouth, and she looked at me and tears were already dazzling down my soft and plumpy cheeks. She called me Jane, and said John might not have been an arrogant and bully in the past, or maybe he was when he was a boy, but now things are different. He's a cool and humble guy who stays out of trouble. I know how hard this might be for you, but you have to find a way to still forgive him for my sake. Well, after my sister talked with me, my mind still made up for revenge for everything that John Watkins has done. Update number 3. So, this is going to be a short one, but I need to tell you. On Monday morning, I dressed up for work, came downstairs, and Mom already made breakfast, beverages, and some bread. I ate a few slices of the bread and hopped into my car and zoomed off to my office. Mondays are always a busy day for me at work, and this is because I would have to design and make new jewelry for my customers. My staff does help me out, but the majority of them are in the sales department. My phone rang and it was my sister. I picked up. "Hello, big sister. How's your day going?" she asked. "It's going fine, and yours?" she replied. She called me to remind me about the monetary contribution that I promised her late last week, and I told her that for now I don't have money, but when I get home we'll talk about it. She said okay, and hung up. I'm happy because finally I'm getting my revenge. At least I won't be giving my hard-earned money to a bully who made my life miserable for my during school days. Well, I got home in that evening, and after dinner, my sister met me at the front corridor and asked me why I said I don't have money to give her for the upcoming wedding, and I told her that I want to give my money or contribute my money to the wedding for the bully of a guy that it's for. I can't do it. I hate him. Well, I'm not heartless and unforgiving as you imagine me to be. I'm just a girl who wants to be avenged for what he's done to me. So, after the conversation with my sister, she got our parents involved, who later tried convincing me to at least contribute the money on behalf of the sister. Well, I insisted that as long as it has something to do with John Watkins, I am not contributing a darn dime. It's my hard-earned money, and I still have the right to spend it the way I want. I was fully bent on having my revenge, even at the expense of my sister's wedding. At least it would serve as a good reason to other bullies who think they can take advantage of other teenage weaknesses and make life miserable for them. Update number 4. Final conclusion. Hey guys, I see a lot of comments asking if John Watkins ever apologized once he recognized it was me, his bully victim. Well, at first his ego could not allow him to do it. He thought I'm going to give up to the pressure of my parents and just contribute the money. They needed that money to get some things sorted out and also to pay for the venue of their wedding reception, and I know that as well. At a point, I decided to make things better and wait. And now I know if he'll be at least a bit remorseful for what he's done to me. But it's as if he still has his head filled with ego and pride. Well, I kept my money, just waiting to see how things would turn out to be, and 4 days before the wedding, I see my phone ring. I picked up the phone, and guess what it was? It was that bully, John Watkins. He starts to apologize in my ear, telling me that he hurt me, and he caused me all that pain years back. He said so many things that I can't even recall now. I told him, if he is truly sorry for what he did to me, he should come over to our house and apologize face to face.
Well, he did just that.
He came and we talked over a few things. From the way we spoke, he was actually a changed and responsible gentleman. Since he apologized, there's no need to hold a grudge against him anymore. The following day, I went to the bank, withdrew the money, and gave it to my sister. The wedding, it was a huge success, and I'm happy that I contributed. Thank you everybody for following my whole story. Alright, so I would like to hear from you guys. Do you think the fact that she's not contributing any money now to her sister is good revenge? Or do you think that that's kind of a bad revenge because she promised her sister that money and her sister has no control over the bullying at all? She fell in love with him. Maybe he really is a changed person. So what do you guys think about this story? Let me know exactly what you would do, how you would handle it. So let me know. Would you give the money to your sister or say no? I'm not giving anything to that creep. He made my life an absolute disaster and a nightmare throughout high school, and I didn't even want to go to class. So you know what? Not only am I not giving him $1, I don't even want to see you guys ever again. Let me know your thoughts about the story. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing for daily videos. Guys, have an amazing day, and Mr. Redito will see you in the next one. Peace.